Welcome back to the 12-Sided Guys. We have Matt as Pine.
Hi.
Scott as Joff.
Hey, that's me.
Jordan as Ebby.
Salutations.
Sabrina as Nari.
Hey there.
And me, Paul, as the guy that got whooped last session by handsome Squidward.
That's right.
If any of you were surprised by those shenanigans, you're not alone. Anyway, you can keep up to date with all of our other shenanigans by becoming a patron at patreon.com/12sidedguys. That's 12sided guys. You can see character sheets, a wiki, maps, and bonus episodes. Also, when you become a patron, you might just get an extra little treat from us, winky face. And thanks to everyone that has left a review. It literally takes 2 minutes and it helps us out a ton. Anyway, if you've ever used Dracula's ribcage to shield yourself from bone-chucking skeletons, then this podcast is for you. It's the Crystal Codex, episode 34.
All right, so Pine and Ebby, as they are kind of rushing to Nari's aid after escaping from the gala, you can see that Pine has a small scrap of paper as he's going, and he's quickly trying to draft a report to send to Kira, kind of intending to send this via the sending stone that they have.
Let's see, how to begin. Dearest Kira, we have succeeded. Through cunning and ruse, we were able to infiltrate the gala at Eberly Manor. Joff caused a distraction and got Aaliyah Brava's attention, buying time for Ebby to use his magics to first gain her full compliance, then put her into a death-like slumber. Then our new ally, Thilo, got her outside without raising much of an alarm. Finally, we made our escape without drawing too much attention to ourselves either. Meanwhile, Nari acted on the information you sent about the other Fallen Heaven's cell and pursued them into the catacombs. Kira, their plan was to blow up the entire building, servants, guests, innocents, and all. Nari let us know that she found some kind of explosive, a massive crystal, directly under the manor. I understand that there were some high-profile targets in there, but this was criminally excessive. Nari and another member of the Wilted Rose, Sir Bortimus, tried to reason with them, but ultimately it came to blows. Weakened from encounters with restless dead during their journey, the fight nearly turned deadly for Nari. But together, she and Bortimus prevailed in subduing the cell and capturing 2 of the members, including the leader. We rush to their aid now, and will have further report once we've gotten clear of Eberly Manor and its environs. Your friend in the cause, ever a brother in arms against tyranny, etc., etc., Pine. How is that? Lords and ladies, that's much too long. What am I limited to? 25 words? How can anyone say anything important in so few words? Let's see. What if I end with simply, your friend in the cause, Pine? How many is that? 1, 2... That's still 6 words. Holy smokes. Cutting down this message is going to take me all night.
Awesome. Okay, so what's the plan? Okay, so we have Nari stuck in the catacombs. Well, not necessarily stuck, but she's down there with Bortimus, a giant explosive crystal, a fallen heaven cell leader who is unconscious, as well as one other Fallen Heaven soldier who's unconscious, while Thilo is somewhere, you hope, back in the carriage with Aaliyah Brava. So, as the boys, Ebby and Joff and Pine, are leaving Eberly Manor, what's kind of the plan?
Well, I think just try to follow the path that they blazed and just try to get down to them as quickly as possible, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Joff will stay in the wagon with Aaliyah while the others go down there.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that hopefully not too many undead have been able to respawn since they kind of cleared that path.
So we're going to kind of jump ahead. Okay. Here's what we'll say. Ebby and Pine, you rush back out to Eberly Park to the shed and head back down into the catacombs, following by memory, as well as being able to talk to Nari, which path to follow. And you two manage to get down into the chamber where Nari is with Bortimus and the 2 Fallen Heaven unconscious cell members. As you get down there, you see there's also 2 dead Fallen Heaven soldiers. And Joff, you get back to the carriage where you see Thylo is inside the carriage with all the curtains drawn, no lights on or anything, and Aaliyah Brava is literally laying in the middle of the carriage looking dead as a doornail. Thylo looks so nervous. In fact, you can see he's like sweating. Okay.
Okay.
So while Pine and Ebby and Nari and Bortimus are trying to decide what to do down in the catacombs, Joff, you're kind of in charge now up here with the carriage. What are you going to do?
So Joff will make sure that that she's tied up well, and he'll actually he'll move the wagon to another part of the city and send a message via Squire to let the others know where he's gone, because I don't want to be too close to Eberly Manor anymore.
As long as you stay within a mile, right? It's a mile radius.
Yeah, it's a mile. Yeah. So I figure maybe I'll just go to the Temple of Erdos and park over there.
All right, so Joff, you get up on the front of the carriage and you start to direct the carriage through the streets. It is, it's getting late. It's probably at this point like 9:30 or 10 o'clock at night. And there are still party goers in the streets drinking. It's raining, not super hard, but people don't seem to mind. There's a lot of partying still going on in the city of Arkleby. So getting to the Temple of Erdos takes some time, but you managed to get there. Now, Nari, Ebby, and Pine, what is your guys' plan down there in the catacombs?
Well, I'm certainly glad to see you, Ebby. I appreciate you guys coming to help.
And Pine, you appreciate Pine coming too, right?
Of course, happy to help.
So these two wouldn't cooperate, I assume.
Pointing to the two dead bodies.
No, they were quite insistent on blowing this place to shreds. This one right here, Nari will kind of gesture to the woman. She seems to be in charge. I'm not quite sure what we want to do with the other one, but we should take her for sure with us.
Paul, would I recognize her?
Yeah, you would recognize her from the baths. I think everybody recognizes her from the baths.
She's seen me naked.
Oh.
Well, there is no judgment on that part.
That's awesome. And so just a quick reminder of what it's like down here. There are sarcophagi all along the walls. There's actually these big supporting pillars in the middle of the room, and this large red crystal with like a weird contraption, a metal like tube with some like almost like we know that they're like dials and buttons are on it, but you guys have never necessarily seen anything like this. It is hooked up to like a cable that kind of plugs into the base of this crystal, and it is up against one of these support structures or one of these columns that's holding up the roof. I don't know what kind of knowledge you guys have about, masonry and building code, but you imagine if one of these pillars came down, it's probably a very important pillar to support everything up above, which, if it's Eberly Manor, would bring the whole building down.
Yes, well, Pine is actually a level 6 structural engineer. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you respect in between sessions.
Yes, now I'm a structural engineer.
I'm a level 7 vice president.
Thanks, Al Gore.
All right, so what's the plan?
Oh, well, we have sarcophagi down here. I'm thinking dead bodies go in the sarcophagi. Just double them up.
That seems like a good plan.
When Nari, when you said that, that people weren't cooperating, Bortimus looks a little bit ashamed at the one that he just literally butchered before any talking was done. I don't know if you guys remember that, but like he just ran in and just killed a guy. Yeah. So you guys managed to get a lid off of one of the sarcophagi. It's got some bones and things in there already, but you can put these two dead bodies in there, not a problem.
Cool. And how big is this explosive crystal?
So if you recall from your session 0, Matt, the crystal that you had there was large. It was bigger than you. It was probably like a 7 or 8 foot tall crystal, if I recall correctly. This is smaller. This is maybe about 4 feet tall, by about like, I don't know, from side to side, width-wise, it's probably about 2.5 feet wide, and it's kind of circular, but it's like set up on end. It looks like there's like a little metal, almost like a dish that the crystal is resting in.
Does it look like it's active?
You can make an Arcana or a Nature check.
All right, Nari rolled a 12.
So in dealing with another red crystal that you have your Sending Stone. You know that when it's active, it kind of glows. This crystal looks dull. So either it's not charged up or it's just not turned on. You're not exactly sure how that all works, but you assume that right now it's not ready to blow.
All right, well, I'd rather not waste time dealing with that if it's not much of a threat and get us out of here quickly.
I don't think that we should leave it here just in case, though. Perhaps, could we take it with us?
I think it'd be pretty conspicuous, but I agree. I don't think we should leave it here.
Yeah. Maybe we can take it further down the catacombs?
Bortimus says we could hide it in one of these sarcophagi like we did with the dead bodies.
Thinking back to the path we trod to get here, would there be any chamber that maybe is a little more out of the way? Maybe a sarcophagus off by itself, less likely to, because this one's pretty close to Eberly Manor. So there's potential for people to come down here, stumble upon stuff. But could we, on our way back out, would there be a sarcophagus that would be a little bit more secluded, less likely to be pillaged?
Yeah, I mean, there's that one room that has sarcophagi that's now choked full of roots and vegetation right underneath the park. That would be a possibility.
Yeah, if we left it there, we would know where it is, too, and we could come back and get it if we ever needed a massive explosion.
That sounds good.
Sounds like a plan.
Just be careful moving it.
So I guess each one of us is taking something, right? We got 2 unconscious people and a crystal explosive.
So Bortimus and Nari are the 2 strongest, I do believe. So Bortimus offers to carry one of the bodies.
Yeah, Nari will grab the fallen soldier and just kind of sling him over her shoulder.
Okay, and then Bortimus will grab the female cell leader.
And Abby, do you want to help me carry this? Because I'm old and feeble, you know.
Yes, I think that's a great idea. Let's both work on this one.
Abby, you're not supposed to agree with him.
Pine has lean, wiry muscle, not big bulk, what's that?
Lots of fast twitch fibers.
Yes, fast twitch fibers.
Or slow twitch fibers. Sorry, slow twitch fibers. Or wait, no. I can't remember.
This guy's a medical professional, deals with the body every day.
Yeah, so Ebby and Pine, you guys go to lift up this crystal, and it's surprisingly light. One of you can take it on your own, no problem. It probably weighs total about 30 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it seems abnormally light.
I'll take it then.
And you can see as you pick it, you're picking up. Okay, as you pick it up, Pine, you can see that there's this cable that kind of connects the rod that attaches into the crystal. And it starts to kind of pull out. So you can actually pull that part out as well if you want to. So you're not dragging it through the catacombs.
Sure.
All right.
And boom.
Okay, so we're going to roll up 3 new characters right now. Bortimus survives. Okay, so you guys then take this stuff out of the catacombs, except for the crystal. You're going to then leave that somewhere hidden in the sarcophagi, in the kind of we'll call that the root cellar. You want to call it that now?
Yeah.
I think that's a good one.
Cool. All right. Okay, you guys get back to the root cellar, and you manage this time, Ebby, with some help, you managed to get one of the lids of the sarcophagi off. I was going to mention one thing that was kind of interesting. As you guys were putting the 2 dead Fallen Heaven soldiers into one of the sarcophagi, you couldn't help but notice that one of their fingers started to twitch, almost like possibly Gadaver's touch, or Gadaver's touch has already started to take hold of these 2 dead bodies. And as you guys, you put the lid back on, and there's no issue. But as you guys are going back through the catacombs, you do encounter a couple more skeletons and maybe a zombie or 2. You quickly dispatch them, but you are able to get back to the root cellar. And this time, Ebby, with some help, you get one of the lids of the sarcophagi off that you couldn't get off before, and you see that there is room in there for the crystal. So, what all are you going to put into the sarcophagus?
Well, I suppose the whole contraption, right?
Should we separate the sort of metal part from the actual crystal?
Yeah, that's probably not a bad idea.
Yes, let's take the detonator with us. Yeah.
I don't want to assume anything, but the rod and conduit type thing, that's actually small enough to snake up. You could probably just stuff that into the haversack, no problem.
Yeah, once you said that was starting to come off, I was planning to separate them anyway.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, let's do that.
And then you guys are able to sneak back up out through the choked hallway full of roots and vegetation and get back up into Eberly Park. By now, you guys have gotten the message that Joff has moved the carriage and he is now over by the Temple of Erdos. As you guys get out into the park, it is late, but you can see that there are people moving through the park. It's almost like you see like a group of people kind of walking along, and then like one of the friends will kind of hide behind a tree and then jump out, and then they'll all laugh, and they're all drinking as they're walking along through the park. You know, you see kids are out this late as well, and they're all dressed in their spooky get-ups, and they're playing like hide and go seek out here in the park. And you guys have 2 unconscious bodies that you guys are going to now get from the park to the Temple of Erdos.
Yeah, so as we're carrying them, Pine as soon as he gets too close to anybody, he'll just be like, "They partied too hard, too much to drink. We got to get them home." Just offering that information to everybody he passes.
Okay,
a little too conspicuous.
It's not too difficult to get out of that one. I mean, there's a lot of drinking going on. You see other people that are passed out here in the park. We'll say you guys get back to that same wall that a couple nights ago you climbed over to leave the park, over by the Temple of Erdos. And you go over the wall, and out in front of the Temple of Erdos, you see a carriage that looks very familiar. Joff, are you sitting at the driver's seat?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Joff, you see them coming out of like a side alley, hauling these 2 unconscious bodies. At this point, Abby, I did some research. It looks like the spell you cast, Feign Death,
Yes,
lasts an hour.
that's right.
So at this point, from the time you cast it till now, I would say you probably assume you have between 15 and 20 minutes left of that spell.
Okay.
So Aaliyah Bravo will be unconscious, as if she were dead for the next probably 15 minutes.
Okay.
And then these two that got knocked out are out for hours.
Got it. I'll relay that to the group and just say, we've got about 15 more minutes perhaps until Aaliyah wakes up.
Well, shall we have a tying and gagging them party?
Oh, I do so love these tying and gagging parties.
All right. So you guys kind of secure. So you guys are there at the carriage. And then Joff, Bordemus will actually get up and up in the seat next to you. And he'll say, I can drive if you want me to.
You are welcome to take the reins.
Anywhere in particular you'd like to go?
Well, no. Do you have somewhere you'd like to go?
Well, I'm sure that the Wilted Rose would like to finish this. I think we should go get her.
Is there a safe place that we could take everyone?
Yes, I do believe so.
Well, lead the way.
All right. Okay. He starts driving the carriage. You guys are all in the back of the carriage inside, unless somebody wants to stay up on the front seat with Bordemus to help keep an eye out.
I'll sit with Bordemus. I won't go inside the carriage.
Okay. Philo is sitting inside, kind of curled up in a corner, not like comatose or anything, but just very uncomfortable, especially when you bring like those 2 unconscious bodies in and stack them like firewood next to Aaliyah Brava. Yeah, he gets very uncomfortable with that, but he doesn't say anything. The rest of you guys climb into the back of the carriage, and as the carriage starts to move, is there anything anybody wants to talk about before you guys get to your destination?
Well, I would love to talk about tying her up and gagging her.
Aaliyah Brava?
Yes, please.
I'm pretty sure she's already tied up. You guys can gag her too.
Oh, who tied her up? Did we say that already?
Joff
already did.
Yeah. Never mind. I'm sorry, I missed that.
But Joff doesn't have the ball gags anymore. He had to give all those back to the Howling Talon.
That's right.
Whoa. Howling Talon made him use ball gags?
You don't remember?
That was
way back in like episode 5 or 6.
that was standard issue. I mean, that's the equipment they give us.
Here are your chaps, your belt, ball gag.
Exactly.
This
Now that I think
studded
about it,
leather collar. What
Yep.
is this?
I
And
think
don't
it was
forget your horsewhip.
Yep. Latex zippered mask.
And they're all
yeah.
only lightly used.
I think it was actually episode 3, I think, with the ball gag, because I think it was way back with Gob. When you guys,
Yes,
I think
that's
it may have been Gob.
Did we ball gag?
Or maybe it was episode 11 when you guys ball gagged
Ramsey.
I think that might be what it was. But anyway,
Maybe.
Regardless, no more ball gags. But you guys were able to get like some like a handkerchief around her head and like in her mouth to keep her if not completely quiet, at least to the point where she's not going to be able to enunciate any words or anything. Okay. The carriage moves along, and Joff, you're up on the seat with Bortimus, and he quietly kind of takes the carriage just slowly around. I am going to the Atlas and the Wiki that anyone who is a patron can actually have access to as well and follow along with where we're going.
If you pay us enough.
If you pay us enough. Oh my gosh. It's true. So Bortimus drives the carriage very slowly because there's still a lot of partygoers out this time of night. He drives it very slowly north along one of the main roads, and then he turns east and heads out towards the North Pier Gate. This takes us out onto the pier where, as you recall, this is where the bombing of Arkelvy, the majority of it took place here along the lake called Deep Lake, basically destroying any kind of infrastructure for trade that the city of Arkelvy had. And Nari was here a few days ago at a place called the Old Customs House. As the carriage approaches the pier, the pier gate, the gate is open, and you can see that there are the city guards there. They are Imperial guards that are guarding this gate, but they just wave the carriage on through. It looks like people are coming and going. It's just kind of a big, it's kind of a free night for everything. The carriage moves through onto the pier and then heads south along a waterfront of old, broken, burned up husks of buildings, some standing more than others. And as you guys approach the Old Customs House, Bortimus pulls to a stop. And he turns to you, Joffrey, says, "In here. This is where we've been making our base."
Okay. Joff will nod his head and kind of glance around. Is there anybody like watching us or kind of in the area?
Why don't you make a perception check?
I rolled an 8.
Oh, that's pretty brutal. All right. It's hard to tell. You see a lot of people around, but they're like out here on the pier. It's not like the same. It seems like there's a lot of people just kind of slowly, just kind of, hushed tones walking along, small groups. It's not like the loud singing and going from one bar to the next that is happening inside the main part of the city. You're not sure why, but it seems like there are a few people out here, but the revelry is definitely lessened. You can't tell if anyone's looking your direction or not. I mean, it's dark. It's nighttime.
Okay, I'll knock on the wagon and say, "In coast is clear, guys. We can get out."
All right, Pine will step out, look around.
Yeah, likewise for Ebby.
Okay.
Nari will scoop up Aaliyah Brava and kind of pop her head out and wait until we have a good signal to go.
Yeah, you guys can see here along the pier, the Old Customs House. And this is a part of the pier where it kind of narrows down. It's not quite as wide between the city wall and the pier, but there is a big, long dock that heads out into the lake that you are pretty sure large ships used to anchor up there or tie off to that dock. And the customs house itself is a fairly large building. It looks like most of the second and third floor has either fallen in or been cleared away. Nari, you were here not that long ago, a couple days ago, I believe, putting a message in there for a fallen lover. But it looks like this building, there's rubble. You can see that there's places where the doors are kind of off their hinges. But you imagine if you climb through the rubble, there might be kind of room on the inside of this old building. You don't hear any noise or see any lights coming from anywhere, but this is the old customs house. Bortimus says to you, Joff, he says, I can go hide the carriage somewhere else so that it doesn't look like anyone's here. If you guys want to unload our passengers.
All right, sounds good.
Nari will sling. I think she'll sling Aaliyah Brava over one shoulder and the other soldier over the other, and kind of just bring them inside really quick.
Okay.
Joff will grab the feet of the other guy and say, "Mr. Pine, can you help me with this one?"
Yes, of course.
It seems that neither of us are as strong as Nari over there.
That was never in question.
All right. As you guys all get out, Thylo kind of takes you to a place along the side of the building where the rubble, it looks like there's a little gap between the rubble and kind of the second floor, which now acts as a roof. And he actually crawls through the rubble. And then he kind of turns around and calls in and he says, "All right, guys, you can put them in here. I'll help drag them through."
Every time you say rubble, I'm thinking of the Hamburglar.
Awesome. All right, so you guys are going to start sliding people into this building. We will say that everybody gets into this building, and inside you see there is a small lantern lit low, and Nilla is in there sitting by the lantern, and she's actually... once you guys all start to filter in, she's actually standing up and helping kind of pull people in and helping kind of clear a little bit of the debris, so that everyone can get in without getting too dirty. And as you guys get in here, you guys now have 2 unconscious Fallen Heaven operatives, and then you have Aaliyah Brava, who kind of starts to come to. In fact, her eyes open wide. They were already open because she was feigning death, but they open like wide, and you can see she starts to struggle against her bonds. Her, if as you recall, her lower half is a snake, and it starts to whip around back and forth. You guys have managed to like kind of tie her, her kind of up, I guess, in kind of like a loop or something, so she can't get her bottom half underneath her. And Bortimus, you can hear the carriage driving away.
Joff will say to Aaliyah, we toasted to old friends, and I'll step aside and usher Nari in front of Aaliyah.
Yeah, and Nari will kind of, she'll just kind of stand up and smile and say, "Hey, Aaliyah, I think we have some questions for you. I hope you're willing to answer them."
Her eyes, if possible, get even bigger.
Nari will come pull Nilla over, and kind of just allow Nilla to have a say as well.
Yeah, Nilla just kind of squats down right by Aaliyah, and then she bends over and starts whispering something in Aaliyah's ear. If anyone wants to try to hear, they can, but Aaliyah does not seem to enjoy what she is hearing.
I'll try.
Yes, please.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perception?
Perception, yes.
Pine rolled an 11.
Oh, man.
Hey! Joff got a 26.
Nari rolled a 9.
Okay.
Ebby got a 15.
Okay, so Ebby and Joff, you guys can kind of hear what she's saying. And she's basically, she is saying things like, "You were like a sister to me, and you betrayed me, and you betrayed those who trusted you." And then at one point, she pulls out a dagger, and she starts kind of gently running the blade kind of along her neck, not enough to draw blood or anything. But then she just says, "I have waited so long for this position." Things like that. Okay, so Nilla stands back up, and I'm going to leave this up to you.
I think Pine, as soon as this starts to get going, Pine will look to Thylo and he'll say,
"Come on, Michael, let's tie up the rest of our guests."
You can see that Thylo looks very, he nods. He's like, yeah, let's leave them to this. And he goes over to help you tie up the Fallen Heaven soldiers.
Ebby's going to kind of post up watch by the door and just kind of keep an eye out for activity in the streets.
Okay.
Are you guys good if we kind of loosen her gag and ask her some questions?
You're in charge of this.
Okay. Well, I just want to make sure we think that it's safe as far as where we are. I don't want, I mean, I wouldn't imagine anybody would be listening in on the docks, but just in case.
Just keep a close eye on her. She's snaky.
Joff will kneel down next to her with a sword ready, with his short sword ready, in case she makes a movement to cast a spell or something.
Okay.
Yeah, Nari will also kind of unsling her axe and then kind of pull down Aaliyah's gag. And I guess first I just want to ask, why did you do it?
She kind of coughs and kind of works her jaw a little bit. She says, you all are making a huge mistake. This is not, you guys don't understand. You don't understand. I've been trying to embed myself in high society here in Arkelvy to better serve the resistance. That's why I did what I did.
That sounds like a lot of bullshit. We don't have a lot of time for bullshit. So we don't really need you.
What I did for the resistance. Granted, there were some casualties. It was a sacrifice that I had to make.
Some casualties? Our organization was pretty much wiped out. That seems a bit bigger than some casualties. Tell me exactly what was going on and do not lie. Can I do it like an insight check and see what she's...
Yeah, go for it. It looks like everybody else is already making them.
Yeah.
And failing miserably.
Oh my gosh. Nari keeps getting that one tonight, so she rolled a 6.
That's 2 in a row.
Yeah, it is. It's bad luck.
Man. Well, hey, it means you're getting them out of the way now. It's like the movie The World According to Garp or whatever, where the plane hits the house and he goes, I'm going to buy this house, because what are the chances that another plane will hit this house?
It's such a good movie.
Okay.
Pine rolled an 18 on insight as well.
Okay.
Joff got an 11.
Yeah, Abby got a 15. No, that's a perception.
Ebby's looking at the street, so he's probably not paying too much attention to the interrogation right now.
Right. Okay. Perfect. So, Nari and Joff, you can kind of see a little bit of not truth, but a little bit of sense in what she's saying, especially considering you were just dealing with this Fallen Heaven operative that was doing basically the same thing, only on an even bigger scale. But Pine, you can just smell the deception in her voice. You see her eyes flicking to the side. You see these little tells that you can tell that she's not being 100% honest.
Okay, and Pine will say that. He'll speak up and say,
Be careful. She'll say anything to get out of this.
She's not getting out of this, so you better speak truth and hope that it ends quickly for you.
What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say?
I want to know who you were working for and what your instructions were.
I was working for myself. I was looking out for myself. I was tired of always running, always hiding. We weren't making any difference. Nothing we did mattered. The Empire is so huge, so vast, so powerful. We were a tick on the side of an elk. It didn't matter what we did. And eventually I realized that I was tired. I was tired of the deception and the lies and the hiding and the secret meetings in the dark. I was tired. Aren't you tired? She looks at Nilla. She says, aren't you tired?
Tired of your bullshit?
Hi-yo.
I want to know who gave you orders. Who were you working with? And if you're not willing to tell us, we don't need you.
I turned in the Rose Syndicate. I turned it in to the Imperial authorities here. I even had a meeting with the governor, if you must know. But I acted on my own.
And what about now? What are you doing now? Who are you working with currently?
Now I'm working with the Empire. I'm working with the Empire to clean up the mess that I created with the Rose Syndicate, so then I can have a free life again.
And what were their orders? What are you instructed to do?
To find you. And then she looks at Nilla, and you, and she says, and that last one, Ember. And to bring you to justice. You see, I confessed my crimes. And now I have to make amends so that I can be forgiven.
Forgiven by the Empire? But what about those you betrayed?
Those I betrayed are dead. They don't matter anymore. And I would be dead too if I didn't do what I did.
I would be careful the words you choose on this night of all nights. I don't know if you realize, we are in a sacred place. This place has become a shrine to the fallen since the bombing of Arkovy. There's a hushed tone here. There's not the revelry here. The dead are honored and remembered here. This is, of all nights, this is not the night.
She says, this building still stands as a testament to the power of the Empire and why it is so foolish to continue to fight. You can like hear like a almost like a break in her voice as you probably get the impression either she's a good liar or she's just tired. Abby, make a perception check.
Ooh, okay. Abby rolled a 12.
Okay. As you're watching out through like some of these cracks in the wall and through the doorway, eventually you see sneaking side to side, kind of going from a kind of overturned crate to edge of a building. You see Bortimus comes sneaking back up. He looks left, he looks right, and then he comes straight towards the pile of rubble, and he starts to wiggle his way through.
Ahem, the pile of debris.
Oh, sorry, the pile of debris. Yes.
Rubble?
All right.
Welcome back, Fancifer.
Fancifer. He clasps his hand on your shoulder and he says, I always appreciate your words of wisdom.
That is a good point. That is a good point. I'd like to think that Pine had mentioned that we should continue to use aliases while we were in the wagon, while we were in the cart, if that's okay. Can we retcon
that's
that?
fine.
I mean, Pine already used Michael to talk to Thylo, so.
And Abby just can't remember Bortimus's name anyway. So
Exactly.
Who are we talking about? What's his name again?
He pulls up on his underwear underwear waistband. He's like, it's Bortimus. See, and he shows you his tag on his underwear. Okay, so Bortimus kind of brushes himself off of all this dust and debris, and he kind of looks around the room and he sees like the tension. And he puts his hand on his sword and he takes a step back and he just starts to kind of listen. Another thing that he does real quick is he's actually going to use his last 10 points of lay on hands and he's going to heal himself. So he is back to full hit points.
Oh, that's a good point too. Can Pine have done the same thing for Nari?
That's fine by me. Nari, you can tell him how many hit points you need.
Yeah, Nari is still hurting, so I could use like a lot of hit points.
I'll give you 25.
That sounds great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think Nari would kind of turn to Nilla and say, it doesn't seem like either she doesn't know much or she doesn't want to tell us either way. What do you want to do with her? It doesn't seem like she's going to be much use to us.
Nilla is kind of looking at Aaliyah, kind of lost in thought. She's got like a dagger in her hand, and she's just kind of like running her finger along the blade. And then she kind of looks you in the eye, and you can see like a tear in both of her eyes. And then she looks down at Aaliyah, and then content warning, she stabs Aaliyah over and over and over again.
Brutal.
I'm going to get a little graphic here. So, warnings. Aaliyah thrashes and she starts to thrash and there's blood everywhere. And eventually she stops thrashing, but Nilla does not stop. And she keeps stabbing and stabbing and stabbing until finally Bortimus comes over and grabs her by the shoulders and pulls her off and says, "It's done. It's done. It's done." And he pulls Nilla kind of over to the side and Nilla kind of collapses in his arms.
Nari will kind of go over and just sort of hold Nilla and, pat her on the back and let her know it's okay.
She starts openly sobbing. Right, what's everybody else doing?
Joff stands up and kind of offers a concerned glance over at Mr. Pine, but doesn't want to say anything.
Okay.
Pine catches that, and I think actually Pine will, when the crowd kind of clears around Aaliyah Brava, he'll go kind of stand over her, and he will say something to the effect of,
Aaliyah Brava, you were condemned for treachery, for betraying those who had your trust, and a just punishment has been meted out to you. Rest in peace.
After Mr. Pine says that, Joff will whisper to him and say, "That easily could have been you or me. We have both betrayed people we love."
Have I?
I mean, your nation. You're considered by many people to be a traitor to Menarest, aren't you?
Well, the traitor, no, but, but some people call it Pine's Folly, the fall of Redleaf. But
I feel like that could have easily been me underneath that blade.
And we'll do what we can to make sure it's not. Is this something you fear? Retribution from Howling Talon?
No, I'm not worried about dying. Right and wrong is all just perspective, and I just don't know. I guess I'm following you guys to understand it better.
What I've found in my life is that most often it's not necessarily a case of black and white, right or wrong. I know you see all the colors. I said shades of gray, but you see all the colors. I think it may be more useful to think of things not so much good and bad, but honor and dishonor, virtuous and not virtuous. We have spilled blood, but every time we've spilled blood, I think back to my time on the battlefield. The men that I sent to their deaths in combat, they were there, they were informed, they knew of their duty. It was a sacrifice that they knew was coming. What Leah Brava did, and what these fallen heaven operatives are seeking to do, is to make a sacrifice of the unwilling, of the uninformed, of the purely innocent. Aaliyah Brava for her own selfish gains. And fallen heaven, I don't know. It seems they want to strike a blow, but at the same time they're seeking to instill terror into the very people they're seeking to liberate. Joff,
I guess what I'm grappling with is that had we been born across a different border of a nation, we'd be standing on different sides of this conflict. And if I betrayed the Empire to join you guys, which is basically what I did, I'm hailed as a hero for that, for doing the exact opposite thing that she did. I don't know. I don't know what to think.
Nari will kind of pipe up a little bit and say, "We're defending our home. That's the difference. The Empire is here invading our home, and we're defending it." And Aaliyah betrayed her trust. She betrayed the trust not of the Empire, who is foreign to us, but she betrayed the trust of her people and her friends.
And she did that for her own comfort. She had other options.
The wolf will struggle and die without the pack. She betrayed that basic law of nature, and it has come back to pay her back in full.
So we're dealing with Dark Ebby today?
Maybe.
Maybe. All right.
Beep boop wolves.
Nari would want to kind of look over Leah Brava and see if she has any notes or info or anything kind of suspicious on her at all.
Or valuable. Maybe she has anything valuable on her.
Or valuable too, yeah.
Okay, so Aaliyah Brava is wearing she's wearing like a nice dress, kind of, but it kind of ends right about. It's like Winnie the Pooh style, you know. It's like there's no bottom to the dress. It's just how it is with her snake lower half. There's like a little tasteful fringe that kind of delineates where the waistline of the dress is. But she really doesn't have anything on her. You do see that she's wearing a nice necklace, and it's got different gems and jewels in it that you imagine could be worth some money. And as you're kind of going over her, you do find tucked into her bodice kind of has a robe, kind of one side pulls over in front of the other side, and tucked inside there, tucked in like along her kidney on the left side. You feel there's something in there. When you pull it out, there is this dagger. And as you kind of look at this dagger and this blade, the light catches it just right. And it seems like the blade has almost like a greenish cast to the metal.
Like it's poisoned? Or like it's magic?
Well, why don't you make an Arcana or a Nature check? Or just a basic intelligence, whichever you want to do.
I got an 8.
An 8. You can't tell, but it looks like it's a very nice knife, and something tells you, I don't want this to cut my skin, right? This is not the knife to clean your nails with.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Okay. All right. And then Pine, you and Thyla were tying up the Fallen Heaven operatives. I didn't even tell you, obviously, as you were tying them up, there are things on these people that you can take.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Nari, you can put that you have that, the jeweled necklace. If you want to.
Cool.
And then we're going to do a little bit of housekeeping here while everyone's believe it or not, in the middle of this, horrible event, there is a little bit of downtime. So Joff, I don't know if you remember, I told you weeks ago at this time that I would tell you how much this spellbook was worth when you went and sold Ramsey's spellbook. I never told you.
Yeah.
I have it written down right here.
Okay.
You managed to sell the spellbook, believe it or not, for 1,170 gold pieces.
Wow.
Cha-ching.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'll divide that up to everybody.
Okay. So you
Ooh.
can do the math on that. It's going to be almost 300 gold pieces per person.
What'd you say? 1,000?
1170 is what it was.
1170. Okay, I'll do the math
Yeah.
and message you guys.
Perfect. And then, but Pine and you and Thylo, as you guys were going over these two Fallen Heaven operatives, one of them is wearing like a chain shirt. He's got a shield and spear. You probably left the spear back in the catacombs.
Yeah, and the shield.
And the shield. Okay, so he's got a short sword at his waist. And he's got a chain shirt. Looks like it's seen better days. You find a pouch with about 15 gold pieces in it. And then on the female operative, the cell leader, you see that she's wearing leather armor. She's got a short sword and a scabbard. She has a pouch full of money. This is a lot more money. So when you're ready, I'll tell you how much money it is.
Dude, the suspense is killing me.
Okay. You find 32 copper, 28 silver, 145 gold,
Ooh.
and 49 platinum.
Ooh.
Wow.
Ooh, cha-ching.
She also has a pack on her back, and as you're kind of going through the pack, you find things like rope, you find a lantern, that kind of thing. You also find a roll of thieves' tools as you open it up. It looks like they're very well made. This is actually +1 thieves' tools. I'll just tell you that they're high quality enough that for somebody who knows how to use thieves' tools, these will actually give you a +1 bonus to any thieves' tools check.
Joff will yoink them and have Gigi eat them. I'm just kidding. How?
We'll just say if you have them on you, Gigi gets the +1 bonus. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just am imagining Gigi like picking out the tools with her tongue and like using them to.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I was thinking like Kirby.
Oh yeah.
But most interestingly, in my opinion, in the pack, you find a red crystal, much smaller than the bomb that was underneath Eberly Manor. This red crystal is the same size and shape as the sending stone, the cell stone that Nari has that communicates with Kira. This stone is also a not a bright red like it's active, but you can tell that it has power in it to use the spell. It is not the dusty red that it gets after it's been used. So there is a sending stone. You don't know what it's connected to, and it is ready to be used.
Ooh, I'll pocket that for later.
All right.
Can I get those money numbers one more time? None of us wrote them down. I got 49
You're going
platinum.
too fast, Paul.
49 platinum.
Yeah.
145 gold.
Okay.
28 silver.
Okay.
32 copper.
Okay. All right. I'll text you guys in a sec.
Perfect.
Awesome.
So now you guys are in the old customs house, and you have these two Fallen Heaven operatives that are still unconscious. You see Thylo starts to pace. Bortimus and Nilla are kind of consoling each other. Just kind of like Nilla has calmed down now, and they're just kind of talking together in hushed tones. Aliyah Brava's body lies dead in the middle of the room. Ebby is still keeping watch, I take it?
Oh, most definitely. Like a champ.
Like a champ. All right. So what do you guys want to do? Because these Fallen Heaven operatives are going to stay unconscious for at least another couple of hours unless somebody wants to wake them up.
Are we worried about Aliyah Brava's people being able to track her body somehow?
You can make an Arcana check.
Yes, let's do that.
Pine rolled a 17.
Ebby rolled an 11.
Okay, Pine, you have heard tell of people being you can like it's possible to track people, and it's also possible to track objects. But one thing that you somewhere you picked it up, I don't know, with your 17, you picked this up somehow. You were talking with somebody who used to do kind of like tracking of people, and they mentioned somewhere along the line that if the person is dead, the spell doesn't work anymore. You can't track the person because now they're just a body. They are no longer a person. They are an object.
Okay. How far away is the old customs house from the water? I think Pine is going to recommend dumping the body.
So would locate object work?
Geez.
Well, I mean,
Sorry, that was terrible.
no, it's
Isn't that a lower level spell? Isn't it easier to track once they're dead?
I mean, with your Arcana check of 17, you imagine that's a possibility. However, sometimes that might not be. I don't know. People might not think to cast locate object. I'm actually going to go on. I'm going to go out and say locate object is specifically for like objects. I don't know. I mean,
I was
what do you
just
guys think?
joking. I'm
No,
sorry.
it's fine.
It
It's
also
fine.
it wouldn't have been an object when you put the spell on. Like,
Well, the
it
spell
would've
can
been
be
a person.
cast. The spell can be cast, and then if you get close enough, then you get a ping, and it tells you where that object is.
gotcha.
But the water is literally like 30 feet from the front of the customs house.
What do you say? Should we dump the body?
That or I could burn it.
I don't know if I want to be in, this close to a roasting snake lady.
Well, I mean, we could set her on fire and then leave. Unless you want to stick around.
Well, we do have our hostages.
When you say that, Nilla says, "No, we can't burn this place. We can't risk burning this place. This is a temple to those who have fallen."
Well, is there like a big fireplace? We could just stuff her in there and I could light it on up.
As you look around the building, you see a lot of like old broken furniture and doors and stuff. And if there was a fireplace, it's since caved in and fallen over. There's rubble everywhere. So there's debris everywhere.
Rubble.
There's rubble everywhere.
Jeff is grabbing the rope out of that woman's pack and tying a a large chunk of rubble to Aaliyah Brava.
Yes, I suppose it is a deep lake after all, so we'll use that to our advantage.
Wah, wah.
You have to cut her open and put the rocks on the inside, or else the gases will make her rise to the top really quick.
Have you done this before, Nari?
You know? Once
Well,
or twice.
that's why I was tying a boulder to her to keep her down.
Right, but you have to cut someone open and put the boulder inside, or else the gases, it will build up and they'll just balloon up too fast.
Oh my.
That is fascinating.
Joff raises an eyebrow at Nari.
Nari has a criminal background. Like that's your background, right? So that's something that you would know. Not that you had done it, but it's knowledge you've gleaned somewhere.
I'm just saying this is I've heard it a time or two.
It's strangely specific, Nari. Are you sure you haven't done this before then, huh?
I'm just saying that would be the best way to make sure she doesn't just pop back up in the next day or two.
Okay, Joff is gonna cut her open and start putting rocks inside.
Ooh, okay.
Well, no hesitation at all. Just right to it.
Oh gosh,
Wow.
you open her up and then it opens up like Temple of Doom and all the little snakes come out.
Oh,
I'm
gross.
just kidding. That does not happen. That does not happen. I apologize for that visual, everybody. Okay, yeah, you start to shove rocks into Aaliyah Brava's body. I'm guessing Nari's going to help you because this was her idea. So whether she wants to or not, Nari's helping you do this.
That seems fair.
I imagine
right.
she's giving me pointers on how to do it while we're going.
Yeah. So Thylo actually goes and leaves this section of the building and goes to another section. And actually, eventually, then Nilla comes over and starts helping shove rocks into Aaliyah as well, as Bortimus looks on.
Wow, this is taking a long time, and 3 of you. Wow, that's a lot of rocks.
Shove those rocks in there. Shove them. All right.
Abby's like contemplating. He's like, do you ever wonder if maybe we're on the wrong side of this whole conflict?
That's what I've been saying.
No, it's like, what's that? It's like, wait, are we the baddies?
That's right.
All right, fantastic. So she is as full of rocks as you're going to get her. This episode, I just want to apologize to everyone. If you've made it to episode 34 and now you're listening to us describe shoving rocks into a half snake woman, I'm sorry. This is where the story, where the adventure goes. So, all right.
So here's the deal, guys. Is that like content warning, all that stuff. Our characters are much more somber than the players are right now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's a very good point to make. We are joking around about this, but there is no laughter going on in this building. In fact, there are some tears.
No, we're only joking around because we're really uncomfortable with it.
This was not my idea. I'm just rolling with it, guys. This is my world. You guys just live in it or whatever.
So, Pine will say to Ebby,
Well, I think we're ready to dispose of her body. Let us know when the coast is clear.
All right, will do. Abby goes out and kind of peeks her out through the cracks to kind of just check to make sure everything's coast is clear.
Why don't you make another perception check?
Ooh. 13.
You look left and right. I'm going to describe the scene a little bit more just for fun. Basically, straight ahead from the front of the building, there is that long dock that I had mentioned earlier. And then a little bit north of the dock, there is an old crane that was probably used to load and unload things off of ships. It looks like it's been unused, obviously, for like 5 years, and it is in bad disrepair. There are some old crates and barrels and things that are south of the dock. And then there's kind of debris everywhere. There's a couple other buildings here close to the old customs house that look like they're actually in a little bit better shape than the old customs house. But it looks like the coast is clear.
It looks like we're clear.
Nari will heft her body, which is very heavy at this point, and kind of drag her out of the building and as quietly as possible kind of toss her in the river.
Or in the lake.
Lake, yeah.
Are you going to take her down on the long dock, or are you just going to drop her right here by the edge of the pier?
Oh no, I'm definitely taking her down as far down the dock as possible, but also as quietly throwing her in.
Pine will accompany her, so she's not going out there alone.
Okay, okay. So then here's the deal. I want some stealth checks as you guys are trying to be kind of nonchalant and sneaky about going out there to toss a body. Let me make a quick say. What'd you guys get?
Nari rolled a 9.
Pine rolled a
Okay.
12.
Ooh.
Wait, why am I not doing that part?
You're not strong enough to carry a body.
Oh,
Especially not a body full of rocks for some reason. All right.
And he's the king. He's not going to dirty his hands. That's peasant work.
The funny thing is that I'm not smart enough to realize about the whole gases and everything. So I would have just let the body sink to the bottom with a rock tied to it anyway. But I'm glad that you know your stuff, Sabrina.
Listen, true crime podcast, or just
Oh gosh.
Maybe the trout in this lake are especially voracious.
little piranha trouts.
Yes.
Yes. Maybe they're mutated sea bass.
Nice.
Okay, yeah, you guys go out onto the dock with your 9 and your 12 stealth. The wood on this dock is, it hasn't been replaced or anything for a long time. Nails have been popping up. So every once in a while, a board will squeak really loud. There's a couple places where boards are missing. And so you kind of have to hop. And it's pretty obvious that you guys are going out onto this dock. And then you get to the edge and you drop Alia Brava in. The dock, just so you know, goes probably about 40 feet out from the pier. So from the edge of the house all the way out to the edge of the dock is probably about 70 to 80 feet from the front of the customs house to the end of the dock.
As we're doing that, Pine will whisper to Nari and say,
Now remind me again why we care if they find the body or not.
I think that the less evidence we have of any sort of problems, the smoother things will go for us. I wouldn't want them to find a dead body immediately and be on the alert while we're still in town.
That's true.
All right.
Quick side note. You guys have seen the Bo Burnham Inside special thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen it probably too many times.
This whole time, all I can think of is the one song that's like, and that's how the world works.
Oh, man. That's how the world works.
Oh man. Oh gosh, that's so funny. All right. Okay, you guys come back to the old customs house. So here is what I'm going to give you a couple of options right now. Hanging out here with these 2 unconscious fallen heaven soldiers, you guys can take a short rest if you want to regain some skills, maybe burn some hit dice, that kind of thing, and wait for them to wake up. Or you guys can jump right in and wake them up, or you guys can leave and go somewhere else. At this point, this seems like a fairly safe place in the city.
Yeah, I feel like here is as good as any, right?
I think we might as well try to question them here and then go from there. No reason to drag them through the city.
Yeah. As it relates to a short rest, I am fine to just go ahead and jump into the interrogating unless other people would like to have a quick breather.
I'm good.
I think Nari is the only one who really needs a rest.
After Pine healed me, I'm doing okay, so I'm okay. If
What about skills and stuff? What about your special abilities and things?
Oh yeah, no, I did kind of tap that out.
Do those come back short or long?
Let's see. Some of them are short. Yeah, no, they're short. Yeah, so I would take that.
Okay. So, if you guys just want to kind of take an hour before you guys start questioning, then we'll let Nari have a short rest.
I don't know. Pine is very nervous about sticking around.
We can go somewhere else, but I don't know where we would go.
Now that Alia Brava is gone, Pine is going to change his clothes.
Oh,
Okay.
Ebby might go ahead and put clothes on. No. Been out here naked as a jaybird this whole time.
Then you're going to be covering up your wicked awesome skeleton bones.
They are pretty rad. He's going to just keep that on underneath forever, though.
I think
All
Nari's
right.
going to keep on her costume since she has armor underneath it, and also it's still technically the holiday.
Joff is taking off his outfit because it's probably covered in blood from that crazy thing we just did.
Yeah.
That's why you wear
Yeah.
black. It covers all stains.
Nilla goes over to a basin of water that she has there, and she starts scrubbing her hands and arms clean. She does that for minutes at a time. Thylo comes back into the room now that Aaliyah is gone, and you have after about an hour, Nari, you get your skills back that you had burned through, and what's up?
If we wake them and they're tied up, they will be more likely to be hostile. And we have allies in Fallen Heaven. I don't know if that's the right move.
I mean, I think they're going to figure out pretty quickly that we were the ones who brought them into this situation. But yeah, I agree that I don't want to make anybody more upset than they already are.
Yes, we probably don't need any more enemies than we already have in the city. I would say, of course, remove any weapons from them, but we probably don't need to have them bound up and gagged.
I mean, if we're going to attempt to reason with them, maintain our relationship with Fallen Heaven, then I agree. We've already taken... Thylo and I have already taken all of their weapons and things. So, we can untie them and try to wake them up. Or maybe one at a time. Which one was the leader?
The woman. I think her name was Phyla?
It was... well, you can ask her.
Feline.
Oh, very good. Yes, Feline. Yeah, she is she's got pointed ears. She's got like tattoos on the left side of her face. She's wearing like leather with kind of fur on it. It's not from around here. Yeah, and she was the leader. So you guys gonna wake her up?
Fair warning before we wake her up. She would consider herself a patriot, but she's a zealot and a terrorist. It may not be possible to reason with her, but we'll try.
I still don't think that we aren't zealots and terrorists for what we just did.
That's true. It's a fuzzy line.
Joff is still holding some rocks.
So we're gonna stuff these guys too?
That's how the world works.
All right. I'm just waiting for somebody to wake up one of the people, and we can get started.
Nari will come up and slap the leader around.
Is she still tied up, or is she untied?
I thought we untied her.
Okay. You slap Feline, and her eyes they flutter, and she kind of shakes her head a little bit. She says, "What? Where am I?" And then she looks around the room, and she sees you, Nari, and she says, "Oh, you." And she tries to rise, but she's still incredibly weak.
Yeah, sorry about that.
She spits back, "Are you?"
Look, I appreciate your passion, but I don't think that was the right move, and we had to stop you at that moment. I am on your side, though. I would love to kind of learn a little bit more about what you guys are doing and see how we can work together instead of fight.
She kind of crab walks backwards into like the back corner, so she can have like a wall behind her on both sides, so she can kind of narrow the view of the room, kind of for protection. But she's still not able to like stand. She says, "You want to learn from me, and you attacked me, and you stopped what I was going to do?"
Well, what you were going to do was going to cost the lives of hundreds of innocents, the very people that Fallen Heaven is supposed to be trying to liberate.
Hundreds of innocents? I would put it at 30, maybe 40, tops. And all of those very important people in there, all of those soldiers, all of those politicians in there, lords and ladies, even an adjudicator was in there. I just found that out today. What luck. And then you guys stopped me.
Well, I think your estimate is low. There were far more than 30 innocents at that gala.
Anyone who was there at that gala as a guest is not innocent.
We were there.
Joff looks at the blood on his hands.
And so you could have endangered us, and we're pretty valuable to the mission, if I do say so myself.
You have proven to be anything but valuable to my mission.
To that point...
Well, tell me a little bit more about that. What's your mission?
Yes.
My mission was to wreak havoc on the Empire, to upend the balance here in Arkelvy, to try to help it liberate itself.
Ah,
And who gave you that mission? Who are you working with?
Fallen Heaven.
and who within Fallen Heaven gave you this directive?
It was my plan.
Ah, I see. Well, if I may offer perhaps a word of advice, when you have a hive of bees and it gets infiltrated with wasps, you can either figure out a way to get the wasps out or have the bees isolate and kill the wasps themselves, or you can smack the entire hive with a stick. That latter option usually goes poorly for you. And what you were planning to do, frankly, was going to smack the entire city of Arkelvy with a large stick. If anything, it would vilify you and the resistance against the Empire.
I disagree. There are a few here in town who would see what I did as too much. And yet there are so many more here in this very city that remember how far the Empire is willing to go. And she kind of looks around the room and she goes, Are we on the pier right now? This place is literally evidence of the Empire's injustice. So yes, some servants would die and that would be sad. But the rich and the powerful here in Arkelvy are either Imperial or they are with the Empire. And their deaths would be good for the resistance. Am I wrong?
Fortunately, your plan has failed, and so we don't even have to worry whether or not it would have worked because, well, we're never going to know now. If I'm being honest, I think that your heavy-handed approach would have been tantamount to, well, a crime against humanity or humankind or those that are kind of like humans.
I kind of like humans. She says, maybe to some. Yes, to some. I can't please everybody, but I feel that my mission would have been more than made up for any blowback for the lives lost.
You keep calling it a mission and saying that you're working for Fallen Heaven, but we're with Fallen Heaven and they did not know of your plot until very, very late. And we didn't know of it until the last second.
Who do you work for in Fallen Heaven?
My sister Kira is the one that sent us the message.
The White Widow, right? Isn't it the White Widow?
Yeah, actually, it's funny that you mentioned that because I have written here in a note, if anybody mentions Kira, you see that Feline, she gets kind of reverential a little bit. She says, Kira, yeah, the White Widow. She's your sister?
Yeah, she's my sister. And you almost killed me tonight. I was at that gala, along with my friends, working on our own mission, our own objectives. And had you been successful, you would have killed me and my friends.
Well,
And ruined our mission, which was a real mission.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, well, our mission involved tactics and strategy.
And panache, if I might say.
Whereas yours was a giant explosive that would have destroyed everything.
She says, your sister is Kira. I believe that Kira would see things my way.
She warned us for a reason, though.
Nari, you remember that the warning was specifically stay away from Eberly Manor. It was not, watch out, there's going to be a bomb. It was stay away from Eberly Manor. Take that as you will, but that was the warning.
Either way, whether or not Kira might approve of your antics, hypothetically, you still put us in danger. We barely, at the last second, got word of this plot. It was dangerous and foolhardy, and even though it did work out this time, and she might agree with your feelings, it's too dangerous and it was needed to be stopped.
Ebby's going to kind of walk up to her and he's going to say, "Now, look, and what was your name again?"
I'm Feline.
Right, Praline. What you need to understand here is if the objective, if it was worth all of the collateral damage to take out one or two high profile individuals, you mentioned the adjudicator. We are your people to help kill adjudicators. It's kind of our thing. We love doing that stuff. Perhaps there's a way that we could, collaborate.
She goes, "You're still not seeing the big picture. It's not just about the governor. I mean, the new Magister of Tabery was here in town too. It's not just about an adjudicator. The people here in Arkelvy who side with the Empire, who are willing to break bread and have festivals and parties with Imperial officers, are Imperials themselves, and they do not deserve our quarter."
If you kill everyone who has dealings with the Empire in Arkelvy, then Arkelvy will be completely devoid of any citizenry when you're done. These are the people you should be attempting to win over. These are the people with influence. These are the people with resources. And you're not going to win them over through terror. They'll be more afraid of you than the Empire. They'll go to them for security. They'll retrench. We can win them over.
Exactly. Don't become the monster. Make them the monster. Make the Empire the monster. But don't become the thing that galvanizes them against resisting the Empire.
Do you know what we've been able to do without blowing up city buildings?
What?
When was the last time you heard any news of the Chancellor?
She thinks about it for a second. Chancellor Ramsey?
Yes, Chancellor Ramsey.
I don't know. My mind has been on this mission.
Without a drop of innocent blood. He is now in the hands of fallen heaven.
Your mind suddenly goes back to Artis.
Without a drop of innocent blood on our hands.
Yes, we directly didn't shed any innocent blood. It's a subtle difference.
There's a little difference there. Yes, there's a little difference.
You need to remember who it is you're fighting for. Arkelvy is its citizens. And yes, some may have been led astray, and others may have collaborated out of necessity for their own livelihood. But that doesn't make them not citizens of Arkelvy. It makes them the very people you're fighting to convince, to bring into your movement.
Win their hearts and give them hope, and you'd be surprised how much more effective that is.
And a little bit of strategy.
And fire. Lots and lots of fire.
And a dash of panache.
Yes.
And an axe.
And my axe.
Okay, you guys have made some very good arguments for Feline. So what I want you guys to do is, as a group, I want you to do a group persuasion check. So one person make the persuasion check with advantage.
Oh, I'm pretty persuasive.
I feel like Pine is the guy for this.
All right, Mr. Pine.
Oh, geez. I shouldn't. Okay, now it's all on me. Ready?
Yeah.
That's an 18.
That's an 18.
Nice.
That is a good roll.
It could have been a lot worse.
As you guys have been talking to her about like the citizens of Arkelvy, and that's who they need to be winning over and all that, you can see her shoulders slump and slump and slump and slump. And eventually she kind of bows her head. And as you kind of deliver that last line, she shakes her head and she says, I still think my plan would have worked. And I still think that the White Widow would approve. But you do speak sense.
Feline, you were able to infiltrate the catacombs directly under Ebony Manor with a contraband crystal technology weapon.
Yes.
If you can get there, you could have gotten into the manor itself. You could have had a much more focused approach. Instead of one big grand gesture, your efforts, your energy could have been more targeted. And that is what will strike fear into the Empire. That's having an enemy that knows how to infiltrate, having an enemy that knows how to think.
She kind of stops talking a little bit, and you can see that she's wheels are turning. She's definitely trying to process what you guys are saying. Abby, make a perception check real quick.
Ooh, aye, Captain.
You know what? Make it with disadvantage because you were a big part of that conversation.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh, a 6.
Okay.
We are so getting ambushed right now, aren't we?
As you guys are kind of finishing up the conversation, Bortimus steps forward and he says, "Well, now what? What do we do? We have the Wilted Rose here, and our infrastructure might remain intact, but we could use some leadership."
Well, Bortimus, I think you also have a new contact with Fallen Heaven here as well.
He looks over at Feline, and she stares daggers at him.
Okay, because they fought each other.
Yeah, he goes, "Yeah, that relationship might need some time."
Feline, meet Nilla. She's nice.
Ignore the blood all over her clothes, though.
Actually, she's not bloody anymore. She's soaking wet though from like washing her arms and her hands and everything. And she kind of stands up. You can see her like put on airs again, like how she would be in her, in a fine establishment. And she she clears her throat a little bit, and she walks over to Feline and holds out her hand and says, "It's a pleasure to meet you. I am Nilla, the Wilted Rose, and I would love to work with you." At this point, from outside, Ebby, suddenly your head whips around as you hear a voice call out. It is a deep voice, and it says, "You in the old customs house, I declare you traitors, enemy combatants to the Almerian Empire, and I pronounce the judgment of death upon you." And that's where we're going to stop for tonight.
Ooh, it's go time.
Did it happen to sound like a 7-foot tall guy with a big axe?
No, it sounded more like a 7.5 foot tall guy with a big axe. All right, you guys. Hey, thanks for playing. That was a fun one. Lots of content
Murder?
warnings, and
There's a lot of murder in that one.
Murder, and we learned a little bit about what dead bodies do when they drop them in the water, that kind of thing. My mind kept going back to Big Trouble in Little China, with the what is it? The Hell of the Upside Down Sinners or whatever. I don't know if anybody gets that reference, but
I was thinking once they get under the water and they swell up with gases, I was thinking of Thunder, one of the 3 storms.
you were thinking of Big Trouble in Little China too.
I was.
Fantastic. Oh, that's awesome. It's like we're brothers.
Or twins.
Anyway, thanks for listening, everybody. We hope you're enjoying what's going on. It sounds like something big is about to happen next episode, so stay tuned. And until then, have a great time.